happen. All right. So let's dive straight into it. And before we get into it, I want to give a favorite, my shout out to the best team, I call them, in the whole wide world, because honestly speaking, they made this possible. Every single thing we're about to enjoy, they made it possible. They came up with the content. I did the reviews and said, look, let's make it happen. So I want to give a special shout out to all of them, because without them, I don't think we'll be having this workshop at all. All right. Then you all know me, African Geek. My name, my original name is Benjamin Teshmak Mino, and popularly known as African Geeks on Instagram and all other social media platforms. And who am I? I'm a content designer. That's how I describe myself and tag myself. I've created over 1,000 designs in Canva. And that's one thing that gets to amaze me, but it's true. I've actually created even more than 1,000, I think, with Canva. And, thankfully, Canva also made me a verified Canva expert. And it's all, I don't take the credit, but the credit goes out to you, because it's because of your support. That's why this was made possible. And how many years have I been using Canva? I've been using Canva for over 4 years now. But this doesn't mean that if you have to get better at Canva, you need to also use Canva for more than 4 years. No, that's not the case. Right now, I need you to stand on my shoulders so that I can lift you high. And that's why we are having workshops like this, so that you can be good in Canva, within the shortest possible time. All right. So I know a lot of you are already using Canva, but let's just start warming up a little bit over here. How many of you have a Canva account? And if you're on Canva, are you on the free version or you're on the pro version? Maybe this is something I'd love to know in here. So let me just know if you're on the free version or the pro version of Canva. Okay, Gabby says it's on the pro version. Who else? Okay, pro. Okay, Jude. Okay, Shanika. All right. Someone who's on the pro. Wow, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, wow, then you are all pro designers already. Okay, so why is Canva the best platform, I believe, in my opinion, or why should anyone use Canva? I believe it's the #1 web-based design tool beginners can use, because it's so easy for beginners. And now a lot of schools are now like incorporating Canva into their ecosystem. So I have a friend in the UK right now who was telling me that, hey, Benjamin, I didn't know that we'll be using Canva in the UK because assignment and everything is done on Canva. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that was going to be the case, but it is what it is. Okay. And it's also very easy to learn and use. And if you're finding it difficult, I'm here to make Canva very easy for you. And also Canva has over 1 million templates, and it's mind-blowing that you come on a platform where you have access to all of these templates. Wow. It's all because we are on one of the best platforms on the planet right now. And it's also easy to collaborate with team members. And that's one of the things I do a lot. And maybe I'll just give you a snippet. Canva is trying to expand more on teams so that a lot of people can be working on the platform. So I'm sure we'll have a workshop concerning that, especially that will target, those of you here who have your own businesses and things like that. That workshop will be targeted at you, for you. Sorry. Okay. And also, the last thing is because Canva is, it makes it easy to monetize your templates. All right. So the first thing is introduction to graphic design. And this is one interesting topic that there are so many designers out there, but if you look carefully, you realize that a lot of designers don't actually understand what graphic design means. And that's what we are going to change today. By the end of this workshop, you should know how to be intentional with your design. That's the aim of this workshop. You should know how you should know how to be intentional with anything you are designing, so that it wouldn't just be because there are millions of elements available in Canva, you just go on there and throw things together. Nah, that's not what we are looking for. We want you to be able to be very intentional. So what is graphic design? And this is a very simple definition. And I'd love you to be taking note and all that, because the recording may not be available within the, it wouldn't be available immediately. So please take notes and make sure you're taking screenshots of some of the things. All right. So graphic design, we say that is the art of visually communicating ideas, messages, and information through creative and engaging visuals. So you see that this is just letting us know that your design shouldn't have a lot of text, or your design shouldn't be overcrowded. Your design should be what it should be visually communicating ideas, messages, and information through creative and engaging visuals. And we have a very interesting flyer on on the right side of our presentation, and you can see that it's very simple, but at the end of the day, it's communicating every single thing you need to know. It's making just very easy. The one of the things we can see is that it's saying think inside the bucket. If you know, KFC get to serve their things in buckets, their chickens in buckets. So when they say think inside the bucket, it's just letting you know, it's just letting you like imagine the KFC bucket, the chicken and all of that. Because once you're in the bucket, it's just full of chicken. So I don't even know how you're going to be thinking correctly when there's so much food around you. So this is the simple definition on graphic design. Now, what should your design aim at? When you're making a design, what are some of the things you need to have in mind before you even start making your designs? This is an important, how is it called? This is an important thing we really need to have in mind, because if not, you just be making designs for making it sake, and that shouldn't be the case. Number one, clarity. Your design should communicate clearly. Okay, it should have a purpose and it should be simple. That's what we are saying. It should be able to communicate purpose with simplicity. You understand? So if you make a design and it's not clear and it's not easy to understand what the whole design is about, please, you need to, just revise and redo the design or make some adjustments in your design. So always make sure that your design, has clarity, or it has some sort of clarity in it. Number two, functionality. It should serve user needs effectively. When we see the design, how is the design serving other people? And this also goes into content creation. When you're creating your content, how is it serving other people? Okay, so that's another thing you really need to pay attention. That, okay, I've made the design. Is it going to help people know that, oh, okay, I have a new how do you call it, template available, or maybe I have a new tutorial available, or maybe I want them to learn ABCD. I want them to at least be able to know this piece of information. What is your content, like what is the purpose of your design when it comes to functionality? The third thing is beauty. How beautiful is your design? Look, I've been on Instagram and I've seen some designs and I'd be like, what was this person thinking? Because you realize that things are just all over the place, and it doesn't have to be like that. You need to know that once you're making a design, and let me even divert a little bit. When we guys, we see a lady and she's beautiful, that's one of the things that will attract us to any lady. Once she's beautiful, then the other things follow: clarity, functionality, accessibility, innovation, all of that. So you can see that it's the same way when it comes to design. Your design should be beautiful. Someone should see the design and be like, wow, this design is actually nice. Then they can now start reading whatever you have on your design. Then we have accessibility. This means that you always need to ensure your design is inclusive and is usable. And a lot of it would come into, for example, templates, or if you're creating a presentation or something like that, how can other people use your design? This is one thing you always need to have in mind. How can other people use your design? And innovation. Your design should inspire people to be able to maybe recreate, or it should be able to inspire them so that they can also create their own version of what you have created. So these are some of the things you should aim at when you are designing anything at all. It doesn't matter whether it's flyers, posters, banners, content, whatever it is. Make sure your design is covering all of these things. I hope we all understand. And let me see in the chat. Maybe you can put some emoji, thumbs up, or anything if you're understanding what I'm preaching here. Okay. Now, let's go into the historical overview, how designs were used back in the day. So you would realize that back in the days, there was less of digital stuff. It was more of print and things like that. So you would see maybe a poster of a nice, something nice would be designed and all that. That's how it was used. Maybe you see a post board where a lot of posters have been pasted on there so they can catch people's attention, newspapers and things like that. That's how designs was used, back in the days. But things are different now. Okay, things have improved. Now we have digital designs, and even under that we have 3D. We have so many things are even coming up these days that even at this point you have AI. You just enter some keywords, and this AI just comes up with a whole design for you. So you can see that we are gradually getting to a point where design is almost like everything, because I don't know which industry or which role these days that's may or that wouldn't need design. Every role, every industry now needs a designer here and there, because look, how are you going to preach things out when you don't have a design that is making it easy for you to do so? Okay, so that's how design was used, but we are going to dive into other interesting topics. And yeah, so let's look at some of the roles of graphic designs in various industries. And when we were creating this presentation, my team members and myself, those who were in charge of this presentation order, we just took a stroll on, just going online, browsing all other from various how do you call it, from various industries, and we realized that almost every industry you can think of gets to need a graphic design or gets to need graphic designs. From sports, and we can see we have Chelsea, the Chelsea banner, even though they are slacking this time around in the Premier League, which is fine, but their designs are sweet. We have Burger King, which falls under the food industry. We have some beauty flyer over here. We have even some automobile, or a car. I think this is Toyota. Yes, they made this design. So you can see that no matter the industry, you will need graphic design at some point in time. And with some of the rules, when it comes to digital media or social media, you need graphic design. When it comes to branding and marketing, you need graphic design. Print and publishing, you are going to need graphic design. Product design, packaging, you are going to need graphic design. Motion graphics, animation, you need design. Non-profit or any social cause, you will need design. So you can see that everything now requires designers, or it requires a design one way or the other. So if you're a designer, you should know that once you can be able to do things effectively, it would help to, push you on a scale where a lot of these industries will be looking out for you. And one thing is, even before coming on this workshop, there was this client who said he wanted to work. So we had to go on a call and all of that. And we're just discussing. And based on the few tips and things I shared with them concerning what I saw on their page, we're like, oh, I think I need you to do A, B, C, D for me. Okay, so you can see that all of this is because I understand what I'm talking about. I know what I've seen, and I know how it can be improved. And this is because when I'm designing, I'm very intentional about certain things. And that's what I want you to be able to do today. Okay, so how can we achieve this? How can we achieve this thing of you being intentional on every design you are making? One of the things is by using design principles, which is very important. So just before I dive in, I just want to hear from you in the chat. Do you all know about design principles? Have you heard of it before? Do you know about some of the design principles? If you know, just say yes. If you don't, just say no. I just want to see in the chat. Okay, Julia said yes. Wow, that's nice. Precious, nice. Okay. Who else? Okay, Shanika, yes. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. So, design principles, I believe, is one of the most Pakistan. Nice one. Like I was saying, design principles, I believe, is one of the most important principle every designer needs to know. Because when we go into the field of science, you realize that there are some principles. When we go to religious stuff, there are principles. Anywhere else or any aspect of this life, there are principles. And it's the same when you come into graphic designs. There are some principles you should be following. Okay. If you don't know it, don't worry. If you know it, I just hope whatever I'm about to explain will also broaden your mind about some of these principles. We wouldn't touch on all of them, but we'll touch on some of the most important ones you should know. Okay, so what is the first one? I think I'll need a drum roll at this point. Oh, I think Canva just messed up. My drum roll isn't playing, so we'll just move on. So the first one is balance. Okay, so when we say balance, what do we mean by balance? Balance is the distribution of various visual weights of objects used in the visual presentation. So when you design anything, okay, you would see that, for example, I see this a lot I get to see this a lot in magazines when there are a lot of text, and you see that there are paragraphs on the left and paragraphs on the right. Usually, what you realize is that the amount of lines, okay, on the left is equal to the amount of lines on the right. And that's one way to apply, how is it called? balance. Okay, so you're just making sure that the design element you have on the right side of your design, the weight isn't too much than what you have on the left. So with the example I have over here, you'd see that I have my image on the right and my shape and text on the left. And one way I applied this principle was that I was just making sure that, when you look at it, it wouldn't be like the design, sorry, my image is bigger and the text is just maybe just at the bottom somewhere. What I was actually thinking was that the text should almost take the length of my image so that everything can be balanced. Do you get it? So that, for example, if we have a scale and you put too much, let's say, weight on the left, you see that it would lift up the one on the right. So just making sure that we have equal weight of the design element on both ends. And that's what we did over here. So another thing is you realize that at the top and bottom over here, where we have the stars, okay, you see that that's another way I also apply the balance principle of design, making sure that the line isn't too long because you realize that the vote is smaller. Okay, so in order to make this in order to make this balance, I just had to make sure that the stars is a little bit smaller so that everything is just coming out bigger like that, so that at the bottom, everything looks balanced, or the width wouldn't be like, okay, the top of your design or the text we have at the top is larger and is heavier than what we have at the bottom. Do you understand? So I just had to make sure that every element here was, the weight was actually making sense so that the design wouldn't look funny. Because another thing is that when your design isn't balanced, it gets to look funny to a lot of people. It really gets to look funny. Okay. And like if you can see over here, I'm saying that balance is the distribution of the various visual weights of objects used in the visual presentation, the proper combination and the harmony of colors used, the tone, refinement of visual texture, and the appropriate use of space. So this is very important. This is something we all need to have in mind. I just hope I explained it well. If I didn't, just let me know, and I will just go back on it. The next one is unity. So with unity, we are just saying that unity gives a design a sense of harmony, both visually and conceptually. And unity is also important because it makes users feel at ease while navigating your design. And this is an example. So let's look at this design and let's just look at how unity was applied here. You would see that the three methods of unity, which is proximity, alignment, and repetition, have been used here. Let's look at proximity first. So when we say proximity, what does it mean? Proximity means that elements close to one another gets to appear in a unified group. So in this case, when we look at the date, the time, and the location, you realize that they have been grouped at a certain point. The logo is at a certain point. The title is also at a certain point. The name of the speaker is also at a certain point. So this means that certain pieces of information that are linked to each other have to be grouped. Do you get it? So a clear example we have over here is the date, time, and location. Okay, this is the information that has to do with the flyer. So they have been grouped. Title and themes are at the top. The logo is at the top, and we have extra information at the bottom. Then we have the speaker one also very close to the speaker. So it's almost like we are grouping the photo and the name of the speaker together so that when you see it, it's not like you're seeing the photo somewhere and the name somewhere. And like you now have to go through and find the name of the person. No, you have to group them. You understand? The other thing is alignment. You can see that everything here has been aligned in terms of text. They have been aligned to the left. So once you start with a certain type of alignment, you should follow through. Okay, so your design should follow the same alignment, and this helps to make your design look clean and professional. All right, then repetition. So if we look at this design, you can see that certain elements have been repeated. We have circles, okay, and we have colors and some shapes. But you realize that one of the things, or one of the prominent things we can see, is the colors. We can see we are using blue. So it's like most of the things in the design are taking the blue color. Even with the tint that was applied on the image, I had to use a bluish tint, or I had to make the photo look a bit colder so that it's matching with the background. Then you can see we also have the gradient red, pink sort of color. This is also reflecting certain aspects of the design. So we are repeating certain things that we've used, so that wouldn't be like you started with A, now you're using another thing. When we are seeing so many different things on the design, that is what makes a design look nasty, if I can use that word. So when you're making a new design and you want to make sure your design is looking as clean as possible, make sure you are incorporating unity. And one way to do it is making sure that proximity is checked, alignment is checked, and repetition is also checked. Okay. Then we come to emphasis. And mind you, all of these designs you are seeing there are tutorials on them on my YouTube channel. So I've created tutorials on every single design you are going to see on this presentation. All right. So don't think Photoshop was used or something like that. Please, this was Canva. Okay. So emphasis. When we say emphasis, what does it mean? So emphasis is the part of a design that catches the eye of a viewer or of the user. Okay, which also has to mean with the focal point. So when you took a look at this design, what was the first thing you saw? I want to know in the chat. What was the first thing you saw when I just popped this page up and you saw this design? What was the first thing you saw? So I would like to know, so that if it's not the same thing as what I have in mind, then it means that the design isn't complete. Okay, Julia said badass. Exactly. So emphasis, you can see that the main thing you saw, the first thing you saw was the badass. Do you get it? So it means that when you're making a design, make sure that the most important things should be the first thing anyone sees when they pop on your design or when they get to see your design. The most important thing you want them to see should be seen easily, because when people get to see your design, okay, you wouldn't be there to direct them and say, okay, I want to first of all make you look at this and maybe pay attention to this. No. Make sure you are doing this, because that's how you are communicating with other people. You have to do things intentionally on your design so that when anyone sees it, they don't have to be like, what is the meaning of this? I don't think this is clear. No. It should be clear. When you make a new design and you post it, it should be clear. And that's where emphasis comes in. I hope this makes sense. Okay. So now also to elaborate on emphasis, how we can incorporate emphasis in our design. So we can use scale, okay, which has to do with making some element bigger or smaller. So with elements you'd want your user to pay attention to, you'd want to make them bigger. You'd want to make sure they are standing out. You want to make sure they have a different color, they have some shadows, and maybe they have some sort of pattern. Okay, and you can see from here that, yes, this is a landing page. The first thing you get to look at is the live changing. And why? Because it's sizable. The size, is standing out. The color is also standing out. No shadow has been applied here, okay? And no pattern has also been applied there. But you can see, even based on the first three items we have over here, it makes, the live changing alone stand out. The next thing you would focus on, especially, would have to be with the button. Okay, so yeah, you can get the presentation afterwards. You can, yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is what emphasis has to do. Or yeah, the next thing is contrast. Now, when we say contrast, what does it mean? Contrast just have to do with the differences between the elements in your design. So you can see over here, we are using three main colors. We are using the yellow, white, and purple. Okay, and we've been able to differentiate between the background color to certain colors. So if I'm to ask you, what's the background color of this design? What's the background color? I want to see if anyone is getting me. What's the background color? And while I wait, okay, yeah, yellow. Exactly. Yellow is the background color. So you will see that just with that alone, and what makes it even stand out is the fact that we have the purples on top. You understand? We have the purples on top, and it makes the background stand out. The next thing you can see is, even with the call to action, the call to action is also standing out because the color is different. You get it? We have a purple color for the call to action, so it also makes it different from the yellow background. And let me just ask you this: if the color of the call to action was yellow, what do you think would happen? I just want to also know, what do you think would happen if the color of the call to action, join group now, what if the color was also yellow? What would happen? We want to see those who can type fast. Oh my God. Yeah, too bright and hard to see. Julius, wow, Julius, I think you really type fast. I don't know how you do this, but you type too quickly. Shanika also. Nice one. Okay, so like you said, it will be very difficult to see. It will not be clear, like what Precious has said. Jocelyn has said the same thing. It will blend with the background. It will be very difficult to pick it up. Exactly. You said it. So you can see how contrast is also important in design. And this is one of the principles. All right. Now, one of my favorites is negative space. And when we say negative space, it's just the space on your design that doesn't have any design element. Okay, so you can see with the example, we have the text and we have the image, and the remaining is just negative space. It gives your element, a lot of room to breathe. And this is it. Sometimes when you're creating design, you don't need to have a lot on your design. That's why they say the simplicity is always the best. You understand? You don't always need to have a lot. Yeah, there are times you need to have a lot of things going on. For example, with a badass one, there are so many things that will have to go on because of the type of design we want to make. But there are also times where your design doesn't need to have a lot. It needs to have just a simple arrangement and things here and there. Okay. Anyway, so let's move on to the next one. We have color theory. So with color theory, it's a whole topic on its own. And maybe since you are here, I'll just let you know that we are actually planning a whole presentation on color theory. But under color theory, we have the color wheel, which is a visual representation of all the colors. So you have the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, and the harmonies in between them. That's what color wheel is all about. When we come to primary colors, it's basically the red, blue, and yellow. Okay, so these are the primary colors. I hope some of you took your visual arts lessons seriously, because if not, this will sound new to you, but that's just by the way. Then we have secondary colors. So when we say secondary colors, these are created when you mix two primary colors. So when you take red and you take orange, when you take red and you take yellow and you mix them together, what color are you going to get? You are going to get orange. When you take blue, and I believe blue and is it green, you're going to get purple, I believe so. So secondary colors are just a mixture of two primary colors. And when we say tertiary colors are, it's just a result of mixing a primary color with a neighboring secondary color. Do you get it? So tertiary colors is when you mix a primary color with a secondary color. Do you get it? Then we have color harmony. I'm just jumping on these because you're going to have another presentation on this, and I hope you wouldn't miss it, because if you miss it, don't blame me. Just you'd have to blame yourself. Okay, so color harmony refers to the pleasing combination of colors in a design. You understand? So how your colors are blended with each other, that's what we refer to as color harmony. Okay, then we have color psychology, which has to do with the emotions that are attached to the colors. So for example, if you take yellow and orange, it comes with excitement, joy, and things like that. That's why we have Fanta. When we say Fanta, you just think of, this exciting stuff happening. When we say red, sometimes red can be associated with danger. It can be associated with, over here in Ghana, funerals, you get to wear red in some funerals and all that. Black also the same. Purple gets to be like for prestige and things like that. Do you get? So every color has its own emotion it gets to evoke. So sometimes when you're using colors and you understand these things behind the colors, you'd be able to know which one to choose. So for example, if you're designing something for, let's say, a nursery school, I'm not sure you're going to be using cool colors, not those kind of dark colors, or maybe dark green. You use bright colors, because you are targeting these young human beings who are just happy about everything. So you need your colors to also evoke such emotions, like that. Then we have color contrast, which has to do with the difference between colors. Okay, so you see maybe white and black. There's a vast difference. Do you get it? So that's an example of color contrast. Then we have color use in branding, and we also have cultural and personal association. So let's look at the color use in branding. When we say color use in branding, it gets to just talk about certain brands and some of the colors you can associate them with. So For example, if you take Coca-Cola, the color that comes to mind is red. If you take Facebook, it's blue. If we say Vodafone, what color can you associate Vodafone with? I want to ask all of you, what color can you associate Vodafone with? And I'm going to be mentioning some brands, and we'll see if you know them by their colors. Okay, so Vodafone is number one. Fred said red. That's very true. Then we'll look at Cadbury, the Cadbury chocolate. Which color can you associate the Cadbury chocolate with? Purple. Very true. So you can see that these brands have taken the colors to themselves, that now when you mention them, the color also comes in mind. And that's very important. So which means that even with your brand, okay, you need to make sure you're picking a particular color that when your brand is mentioned, the color also comes in mind. And it also comes with this cultural, for example, you take Africa, like we like vibrant colors. Do you see? So cultural stuff also, there are some colors or some color combination that can come in mind when it comes to cultural stuff. And I'm sure in your various countries, when some let's say festivals are coming up, there are some colors that would come up in mind because those colors have been associated with those things. Okay, so yeah, I hope this is making sense. Now we are going to look at design elements. So when we say design elements, what are design elements? It's very simple. Design elements are just the tools we all use to create our designs. And once you know the fundamental elements, it will help you to be able to apply them in a good way in your design. Okay, or it would also be able to help you to use them in a certain way that will make your design convey the message it needs to convey. So what are some of the various design elements? We have 4 common design elements, but I'm not saying that we only have 4. There are more than 4, but usually these are the ones we get to use a lot. We have the line, we have shapes, we have color, we have textures, and we have typography. Okay, so line is just it's made of elements of design made of points. So from one point to the other, once you're able to link 2 points together, it's a line. In a shape, an enclosed area formed by lines. We have colors, which gets to give feeling and personality to elements. We have textures, which also gets to give some sort of appearance to certain designs or to anything at all, any surface or anything at all. Then we have typography, which is the main carrier of any message. Okay, so these are the 4 common design elements. So now this is the main meat of this presentation, and I'll need you all to stay, I'll need your attention, because I'm now coming to show you how you can design with impact, making sure that from the beginning or from the early stage of your design to the last stage of your design, a lot of thought has gone through, and making sure that you are intentional about every single thing. I'm coming to break it down to you with the various activities and all that. So I just hope you are ready. If you are ready, just let me know if you are ready in the chat. Okay, just let me know if you are ready in the chat. Just say I am ready or something. Lovely. Nice one. Nice one. I'm so excited. You just don't know. I'm just so excited. Okay. So the first thing is, before you design, you need to define. Hey, what did I say? Divine. Sorry. If this was a video editing, I'll just cut this side off, but this is live. I can't cut it off. You heard it. So you need to define the purpose and the target audience. Okay. So this would mean that for every design, you understand, the purpose would have to be clear. Why are you making the design? You need to be able to clearly define, the target audience. Who are you designing for? Are you designing for, a younger group of people, or are you designing for an older group of people? Are they in the corporate field? Are they in the educational field? Are they in the sport? Like, once you know who your target audience is, or once you know the purpose of your design, it helps you to know certain things you need to incorporate in your design. Okay, then you also need to tailor the design and message. So once you know all of this, now you can say, okay, if you want to speak to maybe people in the corporate, let's say people from the bank, you need to know how you speak to them. Okay, there are some jargons and certain things you need to know. If you're speaking to people in the tech industry, there are certain things you need to say, or there's a certain way you'd have to sound. If you're speaking to maybe children, you need to also know how you sound so that they can be able to receive whatever you have for them. Okay, so the first thing you need to do before you design anything is to define the purpose and the target audience. And that's the first thing to do to make sure you are designing with impact. The second thing is to set a clear goal. So with a goal, what are some of the goals? Is your design going to drive audience to your, is it going to drive like people into your website? Is it going to make people buy something from you? Is it going to generate leads? Is it going to increase brand awareness? These are some of the things you need to have in mind when you're designing. What is the goal of this design? We can see from here that with this sample design I've created, I believe the goal is clear. We are just telling you that, okay, we have burger and this is the price of the burger, which means at the end of the day, we want a lot of people to purchase our burger because it's very cheap. It's for $5. I think it's the cheapest burger you can ever have. You get it? So the goal is very clear. Okay. And once you set clear goals, it also means that you are aligning the design element, the layout, call to action, and all of these things to meet the goal. So once you have this thing set, you know that, okay, if you're going to add maybe a call to action, the call to action should be, should contribute to achieving that goal. So this is the second thing you need to have in mind when you want to design with impact, or if you want your design to have an impact. Okay. Now, the third thing is craft a compelling message. And that's where copy comes in. Do you get it? So what it means is that you need to create a concise and compelling headline. It's not now that you're coming to create give a whole paragraph on a design. No. No one has the time to read all of that, because you realize that, I don't know, but now everyone is saying it, and I think it's actually true that the attention span is decreasing, more and more. But I don't think for us on this call, I want to say that please make sure your attention span doesn't decrease, because once it decreases, it gets to have some sort of effect on you. It means that there are certain things that you may not be able to do. And what I mean, for example, if you go to a meeting, let's say with a meeting with corporate people, and the meeting is lasting long, you wouldn't be able to follow through. So if you're on this call, this is just something on the side. I'm just saying, make sure that your attention span is not decreasing. I know, yes, we have reels and sure that gets to have an impact on us, but make sure that your attention span is not decreasing in any way. Okay, so back to the presentation. I know I went to the side a little bit. So another thing is that you need to have a concise language that conveys the benefits or the value proposition of whether it's an event, services, or product. The design should be able to communicate that. Do you get it? Or anything that the design is for. We should see the design and see that, okay, so if I join this is what I'm going to enjoy. If I buy this is what I'm going to get. Your design should communicate everything to whoever is looking at it. And it should also, like we have on the third point, that it should highlight key information. Do you get it? So if you look at this, you can see some of the key information has to do with the date, the time, the venue, other people would be featuring, the contact. We also have the website over here. So you can see that it's highlighting some of the key information we need for this particular concept, only if it's a real concept. So you can see that over here. Now, the next thing is to emphasize on visual hierarchy. And when we say visual hierarchy, what we mean is that your design should establish a clear visual hierarchy to guide the viewer's attention and understanding. And this even gets to fall on some of the design principles we discussed earlier. For example, what's the name again? Look, I think I've just forgotten what I've preached. Emphasis, correct. Emphasis. So with emphasis, you want people to pay attention to something first. Okay, so once you're designing, you should know that, okay, I want people to pay attention to A or B. And once you know what you want people to pay attention to, this will lead you to do things in a certain way. Okay, so it also means that we are going to be using things like size, color, and typography to emphasize important information. When we look at this design, I'm sure the first thing you saw is banquet. That's the first thing we all saw. If you saw banquet first, just say yes. If you didn't, just say no. I want to be sure if you also saw the same thing when this design just came on. Did you see banquet first, or maybe you saw something else first? Okay, a lot of you saw banquet first. So we can see that already this is achieving the purpose. Okay, it's achieving what we want people to know from this particular design. Okay, now we have choosing engaging visuals, and truthfully, this is one of the thing that gets to make me spend a lot of time on my designs when it comes to choosing certain visual, maybe photos, elements, and things like that for my design, because I want to make sure that my design is engaging. It's something you look at and be like, wow, how did you do this? That's what I'm looking for. Do you get it? So when you are designing anything, or before you design anything, make sure that you spend some time. And truthfully, yes, that's one of the things that would actually cause you to spend time on your design. You would want to make sure you are getting visuals that are engaging to the point where people have to stick on your design for some time and just try to look at everything and just to admire your design. And this is also linked to what we discussed in some slides earlier, that your design should be inspiring, it should be appealing, it should be beautiful. You get it? So you can see everything we are discussing here is linked together. So make sure you're choosing engaging visuals. So make sure that the visuals are also evoking emotions, it's supporting the message, and it creates a sense of connection. Okay, this design, what do you think this design can be used for? Let me just ask you again. What do you think this design can be used for? The badass one. I'm not sure it can be used for party. Julius says party. Exactly. Do you see? So there's some source of connection in here that you see it and you think of party, a rave. Exactly. Do you see? Or a concert, things like that. We can use this design. Do you see? So depending on the type of designs you are using, you need to choose certain visuals that can help your designs to be engaging. All right. All right. Then we have maintaining consistent branding. Now, this is the thing. Let's say you're designing for your clients, okay, and they give you their colors, their logos, their font, and all of that. Make sure you are having all of that in your design. Do you get it? Don't say that, this client gave me this one and I don't think this is nice, so let me, no. Make sure you are the designer and make sure you are able to use Julius just distracted me. He said that I just remember seeing a party flyer that looked like a church worship flyer. Oh my goodness. Then this is funny. This is funny. So, when anyone gives you, or a client gives you their branding materials, make sure that make sure you are using them in the design or whatever you're using them for. Make sure you are using them in it and be consistent about it. Don't use maybe one font here and you go and use, like, you're using 5 different fonts in a design. Who does that? 5 different fonts for what reason? The maximum, I believe, should be 2. Your title and the subtitle, or the title and the body text. Okay. Or sometimes you can go with 3 if you are going to have the title, the subtitle, and maybe the body text. Okay. But usually, look, I think 2 should be the best, so that you don't struggle with how you're going to use this, how you're going to use that. Okay. And we can see from here, we are using 2 main texts, just that the styles may be different. We have the webinar. I think I use Lee Gothic, and the digital marketing stuff, the list over there, I believe I use, is it Poppins or something like that? So 2 main texts and we are good to go. And the colors, you can see, we are consistent with the colors. It's blue, but we have different shades of the blue. And like I said, don't miss the color workshop, the workshop that would dive deeper into colors. Else, don't blame African geeks. All right. So now we have simplify and focus. There's one thing you can do. Okay. When you are designing and you get to the point where you be like, this design, there are so many things happening. Just ask yourself, or this is what you can do. Remove any element and ask yourself, is it helping? If it's good, the element isn't supposed to be on the design, then it's true. The element doesn't have to be there. So sometimes you may design certain things and you see that there are so many things going on. look, remove them and ask yourself, does it affect the design? If it doesn't affect the design, it means it doesn't have to be there. So you can do this until you have the simplest version of your design. Okay, and that's one thing I do a lot. Even before, no, even as we were designing this, it was a lot of things. Myself and some of my team members were doing that. There was a point I was just going wild on adding so many elements, and I was like, it's just necessary. And one of my team members said, nah, I think you need to remove that. And we did, and the design was still looking good. So you should also add this to what you also do when designing anything, and you think there are so many things going on. Just ask yourself, if I remove this element, is it impacting the design or is it affecting the design? If it's not affecting the design, it doesn't have to be there. Okay, so make sure you're simplifying your design as possible. Make sure you have the simplest version of the design, because that's what would make an impact. And avoid overcrowding your design. Prioritize the most essential information. Okay, look, the important information in design should always be clear and bold, that it should be very easy for anyone to see it. You understand? Because you don't want people struggling on consuming your flyer or your design, or it doesn't make sense for people to spend so much time to understand what the design is about. They should see it and they should be like, I get what this is about. And let me just give another concept. I was on a call with a company, a very big company, like a worldwide company. They make computers and stuff. And we were working on some website stuff. And one lady was like, one of the best things you can do on any design is making sure that people come in there and they don't have to think too much. And when she said it, I was like, that is the secret. Make sure people don't have to think too much when they see your design. It should be very easy for them to capture anything your design has to offer. I hope I'm making sense, because the chat is very dull. So I need you all to be giving me some morale, okay, in there. So make sure you are simplifying your design and making sure that your design is focusing and prioritizing the most essential information. Okay. Then call to actions. Your design should have call to actions. Okay. And what is a call to actions? Call to action is simply the next thing you want anyone to do after they have seen your design. You want them to sign up, you want them to download a PDF, you want them to follow you, whatever you want them to do after they see your design is what you want to put on there. So for example, we have over here, join group now. It's clear. It means that there's a group you need to join. So when you see this one, I'm not sure you have to think too much about, hey, what is this design about? I'm just saying join the group. So all you need to do now is to find where the group is. So what this design actually missing is saying that, okay, the group is in the link in the bio, or click on the link in the bio to join the group, or the next other steps. That's one thing. But with the call to action, it's clear. Join the group. Okay. Now, use a persuasive and an action-oriented call to action. Don't go and be saying, look, it should be straight to the point. Join the group. Click here to do this. How do you say? Click on the link below. Tap on the whatever. Follow me. Comment. It should be clear. Don't go and say that, I think you can do this. I think you should comment. I can't think I should comment. You should tell me what to do. Do you get it? Don't go straight to the point. And that should be it. Include contact details if necessary. So if there's a website where you want people to check, or if there's a blog you have where you want people to check to learn more about whatever you're talking about, it should be there. Okay. And I believe once you have all of this, it's going to make your design look very clean, and it's going to make your design have an impact. So these are all the things you need to incorporate in your design so that your design can have an impact on whoever sees it. I'm sorry, but we are almost ending, and I just hope you've understood what I've shared so far. Okay, so I just want to go back a little bit and just jump to the main point. Okay, because this is actually the last slide, and the following slide is just wrapping up and all that. Okay, so let me just go back to the first one, which had to do with how to design with impact. And the first thing we talked about, okay, is define the purpose and target audience before you design. Know who you are designing for and know the purpose of the design. The second thing is set a clear goal. what do you want the design to achieve? Make sure that the objectives are measurable. You can be able to know that, okay, after we posted the design, I was able to get maybe 3 follows. I was able to get 3 sales. I was able to drive this number of people to this website and all that. Your design should contribute to the goal, or it should achieve the goal. Okay, so which means that you need to set a goal before you design. The third thing is compelling. Craft a compelling message. Make sure that anything on your design is concise. You're having the it should be concise, very easy to understand, very quick to scan through and just get whatever the design is about. Then emphasize visual hierarchy. Just make sure that important elements are standing out, important information are standing out. You're highlighting important information, or that. Then we have choose engaging visuals. Make sure that every visual you are choosing, is engaging. It should keep people being like, wow, this is, yeah, I think, wow, this design is nice. Ooh, my god. Ooh, shash. People should be making those kind of sounds, like those kind of sounds when they see your design. Okay. Then maintain consistent branding, making sure they are sticking to certain colors, certain fonts. You are not using too much, and you are also not overdoing things. All right. Then simplify and focus. Make sure your design is simple, and make sure it's prioritizing the most essential information, and it's also using white space strategically. I really had to take my time to mention this word, strategically. Strategically. Yeah. And also include a strong call to action. Okay. So this is what I have for you today. I hope you found this helpful. And look, all of this is just to let you know that you can be the best if you want to. And maybe I'll just use this. I'll use about 2 minutes to share a little bit of my time. Sorry, a little bit of myself. Then I'll I'll just wait for some questions from you all. So when I started with Canva, I didn't like the templates that were there. So the aim was that I want to create designs that will make people feel like I use Photoshop to create them. And that was my aim. And I always wanted to be different. Always wanted people to see that, wow, this guy, no, he knows what he's up to. And that's what helped me to now learning stuff, testing new ideas, and doing all of the things I do now, to the point where Canva now recognizes me, and now we are getting to higher levels and all that. So I just want you to know that it doesn't matter if you started using Canva a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. My team and myself, we are making sure that we are going to have a lot of workshops, free workshops. Some of them will be paid, looking at the content and all that. Okay. But even if it's a paid workshop, just have it. Don't just think I'm here for your money. Just say that you're investing in your own business and all that, because I'm here to teach you what you need to know and what can actually help you. You understand? And I just want to encourage everyone here that, look, you can be the best. You can be the best. Look, it doesn't matter whether you are using your phone to design. You can still be the best at mobile designers or mobile phone designers. When it comes to Canva, you can be the best in everything you are doing, especially Canva, since we are talking about Canva. Okay. And yeah, it's question time. If you have any question for me, I believe this is the time to ask your questions. I dropped the mic. So you can type your questions out. I'll give you some few minutes. You can type out your questions, or you can also unmute. But whatever case you want to do, I'll just play some music while you also type out your questions and all that. So I'll give you like 3 minutes to type your questions. Okay. All right. I think I should play some music so that this place isn't too quiet. Oh, see my YouTube. Okay, so you can type out your questions. I'm waiting for your questions. You can ask me. Like, this is the times like this, I love to have a lot of questions. Okay, so ask me your questions and just let me know if you understood it and all that. Okay, but the question, how do you take your own designs? Okay, so from Sean. Okay, so Precious asks, Hey, wow, the questions are okay. So from Helena, what kind of posters to sound out for real estate? I think you're asking that what if I understand your question, what I believe you're asking is that what you can do so that you can make your posters stand out when it comes to real estate. So, for example, when it comes to real estate, what are some of the things people know about real estate? We need to see buildings. We need to see certain things, the size. Okay, hmm, I created a design for a client and he was into the real estate stuff. And one of the things I did was that I did more of showing than typing out the information. So we had photos of the building, we have measurements, and how I even displayed the measurement was I got icons that can help for people to know, okay, so they're talking about dimension. Okay, they're talking about the length. Okay, they're talking about the breadth. So we place all of these things there so that it's not like we have so many texts. So make sure you're having images of the building or images that have to do with um, real estate. And I have some real estate tutorials in there you can check out. But real estate people have to do like professional people and all that. So when you're designing real estate stuff, you need people in suits just so that when someone sees it, they know that okay, this has to do with real estate. I just hope I answered your question. And the next question is from Sean. How do you take your own ideas from inspiration? Okay, so if I understand you, you mean that let's say you have an idea, how do you get inspiration for your idea? So this is what I do, and I just hope this answers your question. So what I do is that before I design, maybe I want to design. Recently, I was designing something for a client, and it had to do with tech. Okay, so we're trying to get more people to sign up for a 6-week accelerator course where they get to learn about Python and all of these things. So one of the things I did was I went on Pinterest, I went on some of these maybe other companies who are doing similar things and just saw how they've designed their stuff. Okay, and that gave me an idea of things that need to be present on my design. So we wanted people to know that they'll learn Python. So I got a Python logo, I added it there. They learn about artificial intelligence. We got, an icon that represents artificial intelligence and placed in there. We got some elements, some textures and things that had to do with tech. That when people see, they be like, ooh, okay, I like that. Maybe I'll just, let me see if I can share my screen, my browser. I'll go to Instagram. There's this page I think I made a design for, and I just want to show you so that you can at least understand what I am talking about. Okay, so let me go here. I just hope the design is there, but if it's not there, I'll get it and I'll send it in the group, okay, so that you can get what I'm talking about. Okay, so okay, I don't think I'm seeing it. So you can see, for example, yes, this is one of the designs we made. So you can see that we were talking about tech and stuff like that. So I got the robots, I got the various HTML, things like that, so that people can know that, okay, if I join, this is something I can learn. These are some of the benefits and all that. So you can see whatever I've taught you is what I use myself, and you can see it's even here. Okay, so this is just an example. All right. Then we have Precious. What are the best? Okay, you're the best. Okay, thank you, Elena. Okay, real estate. I think I've answered it. How can one be good in creating content? So I believe all of these things come into place, what I've taught you. But when it comes to your messaging, you need to make sure that your content is very easy to understand. Your content, always provides solution. Your content is actually a reflection of you. What I like to do is when I'm typing out my content, I type it out as if I'm speaking to someone because I know you are going to be reading it. So I need to make sure that it should sound as if I'm speaking to you. So these are some of the things I think you need to consider when it comes to creating good content. Okay. And Shanika, how do you look at other designs to get ideas on how? Yes, I do that. I check so many people and what they've done, and I just gather ideas and all that. And there's this book. Let me see. There's this book I have, how to copy or something like that. It has to do with a designer. I have it somewhere. So one of the things it talks about is that, as a designer or as a creative person, you should be someone who gets to steal ideas. In the case of when you see a nice idea, screenshots. When you see a nice idea or design, screenshots. So that when you're ready to create any design, you can just go through them and say that, okay, this, I can take this from here, I can take this from here. You take all the pieces and blend it together to make yours. So I always look at other designs and I always learn from other designers. And what I do is, or what I would also say is that always learn from the best. Don't look at people you are better than in terms of design, because there are some people you see that design, you know that it's not going well. Look at those who are leading. Look up to them, look at their designs, learn from what they are doing. If they do something nice, you can create your own version of it. And I do that a lot. I always create my own version of it. When I see a nice Photoshop idea, I ask myself, how can I make the Canva version of this? And yeah, okay. Bilal, I hope I mentioned your name correctly. It's a personal question. Are you open for collaboration? Yes, I am open for collaboration. I know sometimes the DMs are a lot, but now I'm just making sure that, especially for people in the WhatsApp group, I'll make sure we can collaborate a lot. So it's something we are also working on, and we'll come up with that very, very soon. Okay. And sure, we'll collaborate. We'll collaborate. What kind of colors to depict professionalism? So normally when it comes to professional or corporate stuff, you'd want cooler colors. Okay, so we have warm colors and we have cool colors. So warm colors are usually brighter. Okay, cool colors are usually dull. And you realize that when you look at a lot of corporate designs, they don't use bright colors. They use cool colors, like maybe a dark blue, a calm blue. Ladies usually have a lot of colors and stuff, but when it comes to gentlemen, we just know some one or two colors. But just make sure you're using the darker version, or the dark version of any color. Do you get, when it has to do with professionalism? It shouldn't be too bright. Okay. And one thing you can do is just go on Pinterest and type corporate flyers, and you'd see the kind of designs that come up and the colors. And that alone should give you an idea. How do you deal with imposter syndrome as a designer? Yeah, sometimes you may feel like you're not the best, but look, believe it or not, at the stage where you are at, there's always going to be someone who is better than you and someone you are better than. Okay. But this is the thing. If you feel like you are not better now, and you get to feel like, maybe you get to feel bad about it. Look, just tell yourself that I want to be able to become a good designer. Set out practical steps. What can I do? Do I have to watch a lot of tutorials? Do I have to learn, take a course? What things you need to, action steps you can take? That's what I do. Sometimes I feel like, my designs are horrible. Then I go out to look at other designs and see what I can learn from them and try to recreate them. And before I finish recreating the design, I've learned a new trick in Canva. You get it? So yes, we feel that sometimes, and I also get to feel that sometimes, but I've always just come to the point where I ask myself, what can I do to be good at what I want to become? Because I don't feel good about the fact that, maybe I can't sell properly to clients. My designs, most clients are rejecting my designs and all that. I just set out and say, okay, what can I do? Then I go to take some videos from YouTube, learn some of the things people do in their designs, and I apply them and they work. So it's a feeling. Okay. And once you have any feeling, you can battle that feeling with some logical stuff, to ask yourself questions and put practical steps in place, and you'll be fine. Can we design UI in Canva? Yes, you can do that, because I was able to create some website in Canva and it was nice. So yes, you can do that. And how do we deal with clients who ask for 10 changes at a time? Look, when you are designing for a client, okay, let them know that you can be able to do 3 revisions after the designs have been made. Any other revision afterwards would have to be paid for, because they can't just keep coming at you and wasting your time, because sometimes it can be so annoying. So you let them know that after the design, they have a span of 3 revisions. After that revision, any other revision is going to incur some price or an extra cost. Okay, so that they wouldn't come and say change the color, and they come back, change the text, come back. Can we do this a little? No. Look, once you let them know that, it will also help them to take things seriously with you. Okay, so yeah, these are the questions, and I love the fact that we have been able to have this wonderful workshop. And before you all go, I would want us to take a a photo shoot, as we all call it. Okay, so if you can all come on camera, I'll be so happy. Like, I'll be so happy if you can all come on camera so that we just take a quick photo shoot so that yeah, we can all be happy. Lovely, lovely. I see Julius, I see Samuel, nice one. I see Gabriel. Okay, I see Shanika. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Wow, wow. Anyone else who wants to join the photo shoot, you know? Okay, nice. I see Precious. Nice, nice, nice. This is fantastic. Okay, so anyone? Okay, I see Joylyn. Oh, nice. It's nice. You see, one of the nice things is the fact that I can see faces. It gives it gives a certain kind of vibe. I don't know. I can see Fred. Lovely, lovely. So we are going to we can all do the peace sign. Yep, my tripod. We can all do the peace sign. Okay, so in three. Oh, okay. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Yeah. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. And look, I just want to let you know that I am so grateful for the fact that you took time out of your busy schedules just to join me on this workshop. And I'm going to make it a point. And I take this upon myself to make sure that we come up with more workshop like this just to help you. The aim here is to help you or to move to the next level. And I just hope today's workshop has been able to achieve that. Thank you so much. I'm so happy you joined. And I just hope you join my next workshop. Okay. And with the next one, you can also invite your friends. Look, people are now also joining. We've closed and people are joining. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'll see you all in my next workshop. Peace out.